Alrighty, welcome back to another Django tutorial. This is where we left off. We've got this blog page and we got some blog posts, and you can like click the post and go to like the epic post, whatever. And so that's cool, but you know, I want to do something more. So like let's transform this site into something more than a blog. You know, blogs are kind of 2005. So one of my hobbies is doing. So like, let's make a website dedicated towards fellow plagiggers, plagigaming, and just all around doing, right? So how do we do that? Well, let's get to it. First of all, we have this Django tutorial blog. Like the first thing we ought to do is change the title to doing. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to my site here, and we want to go to my site, blog, templates, and then base, right? Base is the, header file basically. So open that up, and first of all, we need to change to doing, and it's no longer going to be a blog. I know so many people are going to cry because we're going to do something more than a blog. Oh no, just kidding. Anyway, so let's say we're going to change this to, we'll do header 1, and we're just going to say plagigama doing $. So we've changed base.html. Let's make sure this works. There we go. So plagigama doing is now the topic of this website. So the next thing we want to do is like, we can incorporate, like people can blog about like their like tales of doing and all that kind of stuff if they want, but we don't want our main website to be all about doing anymore. Like we're more than a blog site. We want to be all encompassing plagiggers, doing, and so on. So generally, like I would say we want to have like our home page will maybe have a brief description, of doing, but then we also might have like a latest news. So we could kind of use the blog as like the latest news of doing. So how do we do that? Well, while we do that, well, like most websites, right, you're going to have like the latest news, and it's just links to the latest news, and then you can click those links and it heads here, right, to the specific news page. So how do we like set that up? Well, we're going to do that, and then also set up just like a doing archive of like all of doing and plagigger news. So that's what we're going to do next. So in order to do that, what we want to do is come over to we want to make archives and we want to make templates. So to do that, we need to go to blog and then open up the urls.py file. And you see we have this right here. So we already have information for like the home page basically already has information on it, and it's got like the last 25 posts or whatnot. But let's make a just straight up like the archives. So the next thing we want to do is just come over here, and both archives and latest news we'll just make as like list view. So we're just going to copy and paste this. So we'll come down here and paste, and the URL is anything starting with archives / and then we want to be view, and then our template we're going to change to archives. We want to order by date, but we don't actually want to limit this at all, right? We want that. So we'll have to make an archives page, and then finally another one that we'll do is we're going to make this our latest news, we'll say. Latest news page, anything starting with that. And so if you haven't kind of figured out, like this is our home page, right? Our home page is list view as view. And so I almost think maybe we should change that to the blog.html, but we'll eventually get to that, or not blog.html, but change that to what we're going to do with latest news. But eventually we're going to kind of switch this up, because this is like our index.php page, right? This is anything just starting with nothing. So we'll come down here, latest news, and then we'll also change the template to latest news.html. And latest news, we're going to order by, oops, there we go, reverse chronological date, and then we'll just do the last 5 news entries on Plagigamadooing or Plagiggers or whatever the news is about. So with that, obviously we need to make archives and we need to make latest news.html. So we'll save urls.py. We'll close out of that. And now if we come over here and like try to access archives, it doesn't exist, right? Because we don't have that template for archives. So what we need to do is actually make the template for the archives. And it's going to be a lot like our blog template. So we're going to just copy the blog template. Like I just literally just copy it and I'm going to rename it archives. And then we'll edit with Notepad. And we'll come into here, and what we're just going to do is we'll keep the for loop, but we obviously we don't want to have anything really. We don't want any of these div tags. What we really want is just this. We don't want it to be a header 3. Instead, let's make it regular text. And now what we want to do, along with having the link there, like that part's already done, but what we really want also is to have the posting date. So within here, we're going to add post.date. Okay, so let's save that and let's revisit the archives here. And so as you can see, we actually have the full list of archives. But you know, we've got this like this full link, and maybe we just want to have the date posted, right? Maybe people aren't so concerned about the time posted. You can actually specify that with the date format. So we can use the use the bar type date, and this will be how you can format your date. So we could just say we want it to be year and then dash month dash day, something like that. So now we can save this, pop over here, refresh. And now it's the year, month, date, and then we've got the actual post. Now what we might want to do is, I think you can just add that space there to make it spaced, yeah. Just so we have a little bit of spacing there. Maybe another space or something, just to make it nicely spaced. I guess we'd have to add, maybe some HTML spacing, but for now this will be good. So this is kind of like the archives. Like this was not limited. Now we kind of want to have our, we're done with that. The blog part we're done with. Now we want to have maybe like latest news, right? Because the archives will just be unlimited. It'll, no limit to it. But we also want to have just latest news that'll just, even though we only have 4, we're going to make latest news that displays, the last 5. And so if we pop over to latest news right now, we don't have that template. But the template's going to be pretty much just a copy and paste of archives, right? There's not any difference, really. And in fact, I wonder if I can get away with using the exact template as archives. I'm kind of curious. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to do that. So let me try. Because this is, this already is setting the parameters. So I think that I could actually use archives.html. So we can save that, and let me pop over. Yeah. So now we have latest news, and now we're following the rules of Python, right? We didn't. It was the exact same format because we've already defined like how many in that list that we wanted. So in fact, let's pop back over to archives and let's rename archives to something else. Like I think we'll just call it post list. Or post. Let's see, post titles list, something like that. Not the most creative name, but a decent name. Oops, what has it done? Oh, we got rid of archives. Okay, so now that we've changed post titles list, we need to come back over to our urls.py file and rename the this here. What was it? Post title. I already forgot. Post titles list, I think, is the proper way to say it, or that we said. Let's see, templates, post, titles, list. Yeah, I think so. It's hard because like the text is like, well, it's all different. But so let's pop over here, refresh this, and then we'll go to latest news, for example. Let's see. Okay, what do we latest news? Okay, well, I guess the next thing that we want to do is add it here as well, so we can just be slash latest news. So we'll do, because otherwise we have to do blog slash archives, right? So we can instead do, I think we could just say latest news like that, and then we include the URLs from blog URLs. I'm pretty sure we can get away with this. So there's our latest news, although that's copying our blog. Let's see. Right, so since this is posted, this is contained within the blog app. We really have to continue through like doing blog slash latest news. So what I'll probably end up doing is we'll just make another app, and it'll be just mostly this, right? You would just make news, and then you would list it like this.